Good evening, Instagram. Vaping Rob is back for another video. So what we're going to deal with tonight is it's going to be a bit of a multifaceted video. So firstly, I'm going to deal with nicotine salts, nicotine strengths, and also then the difference between sub-ohming and mouth to lung, and also straight to lung. So let's start, shall we? So firstly, let's have a little chat about nicotine salt. So nic salts have been around for quite a while. It's a recent advent, to be honest with you. Now, a lot of people have kind of been talking about what's the difference between vaping a nicotine salt to a standard liquid, which has got, say, 3 mg of nicotine. So, for an example, we have key lime cookie here, which is by Element, or the one that I'm vaping at the moment, which is the Riot Squad Loaded Lemon Custard. So nice. So these are both at 5 mg of nicotine. Now they're both nicotine salts. Now, basically a nicotine salt is actually the way that the liquid has been produced. So instead of using a standard nicotine base when they made the liquid, they used a nicotine salt base, which means that the nicotine is actually in the liquid in small salt form. Now, it does mean that generally speaking, you can vape a higher strength. So for instance, I'm actually vaping 5 mg. Now, I only usually vape 3, so it's not a massive jump, but you do notice the difference. I mean, you can even vape a 10 mg of a nic salt, and actually a 5, when it actually hits your throat, feels like a 3, and a 10 feels like, I'd probably say around a 5, 6 in terms of strength. It's just a lot smoother. So generally speaking, you'll find that nicotine salts are a lot smoother. They are usually in just 10 ml, so like this, and you've got a massive range of liquids. It's really, really nice. Now, the other difference is mainly when you're vaping nicotine salts, you're going to alter the tank that you use. Now, for this, I actually resurrected my Nautilus 2 tank, and I also brought back my Alien mod. Now, this is one of the original Aliens by Smog. It's the first mod the first proper mod I ever bought, and it still works. And that was probably what, 6, 7, 8 years ago? Now, the reason why I resurrected this tank was twofold. One, because what you can do with this tank is you can actually change it from being a straight to lung by altering the airflow, or, and this is the setting, or you can make it direct to lung, or rather mouth to lung. So it's kind of more similar to vaping, kind of like smoking a cigarette. So there are 2 different types. So straight to lung means that, like this device, I take a hit, produces a lot of vapor, and the vape goes straight into my lungs. Whereas this, on the mouth to lung setting, it means that I actually inhale, more like smoking a cigarette, not as much vape. The thing is that actually when you're vaping nicotine salts, you want to either use a low-powered mouth-to-lung or direct-to-lung device, and you always want to run it on a lot lower power. I mean, I'm only running this on about 22 watt. There's no way I'd be able to vape a 5 mg nic salt on this, because the hit would be really good, but it would also be really strong in terms of the actual nicotine hit, and I find that a bit too much. So the other question that I get asked quite a lot is, so what's the difference in nicotine strength? So in nic salt, you tend to have 5, 10, 20, and then in standard nicotine, you have 3, 6, 12, 18, 24. And it'll even go up as high as 50. And you can get that in America. You can't get it over here. So generally speaking, kind of 3 mg is a good starting point for if you've just started vaping. And it is also kind of linked to how much you used to smoke, if you used to smoke. So for me, I used to smoke 20 a day, and a lot of people said, oh, why don't you start off with 6 mg? I did actually. I started vaping 6 milligram nicotine liquids, but I found it really, really harsh on my throat. So I switched to a 3, and I've been using that ever since. The general thing that you will find is that the higher the nicotine content, the lower the flavor would be, I'm going to say. That's kind of just my opinion, but I think that's kind of what I think when I vape high strength. Interestingly though, with nicotine salt, you don't tend to lose as much flavor. So as I said, you can vape a 10 mg nic salt and that feels like a 6. You can vape a 20 and it will feel probably like a 12. So, yeah. I mean, personally, I think nicotine salts are the way forward, and they seem to be progressing much more. You see that there's a much broader choice of nicotine salt out there. You'll find that generally speaking, if you go into any vape shop these days, you'll find liquids like this, which is a 50ml zero. So what they'll do is it actually holds 60ml, but they'll fill it up with 50. You've then got 10 milligrams where you can put a nicotine shot in. Now, basically the way you want to work it is that a 10ml 18 mg nicotine shot into 50ml of liquid will give you a 3. 2 will give you 6, 3 will give you 12, 4 will give you 18. There is a way around this. If you can find a specific flavour, for example, Jackrabbit do quite a few different flavours. One of them that I like is called Blueberry Duffin. Now, the great thing is with that, whenever I get that in a 50ml, you will find I tend to buy a 20 mg nic salt in the same flavour, and I use that as my mixer. The reason why I do it is that it means when I mix it in, it'll give me a total strength of the liquid of a 3, and it means that I don't lose any flavour. That is something else that you do find with nicotine, just pure nicotine shots. You can find they lose flavour. But again, that is a very personal opinion. That's just what I think. Yeah. So just before I go, I'm going to do a quick few juice reviews. So I've got a few. So nic salt wise, currently I'm vaping Riot Squad Loaded Lemon Custard. Now, it's a beautiful liquid. It gives a really good vape. It's got an amazing flavour. It's super smooth on the tongue when you're vaping it. And you get a really kind of nice lemony flavour on the inhale, and then on the exhale you get a little bit of a twinge of the custard. It's really quite pleasant. The other one I've got is a key lime cookie by Element. Now, that one is really interesting. I really think it's a great juice. The flavour itself is wonderful. On the inhale, you get a really proper limey hit, and it's just really refreshing. It's really invigorating. You'll find as we keep going, I do vape a lot of citrus juice. That is literally just me. But then on the exhale, you get a lot of the cookie, and you get this really phenomenal cookie hit. I've also got a Blue Burst by Riot Squad, which is again a 5 mg nic salt. Again, great flavour. It's what I'd more compare to being like a blueberry slushy kind of flavour. And yeah, I mean, I think it's wonderful. I think it's a really nice flavour. I think it tastes amazing. Again, it's a nic salt in a 5, so you get a really good hit. It's really smooth, and you get loads of blueberry on the inhale, and then a little bit of the slosh on the way out. My other two favourite liquids are Watermelon Chill by Element and Pink Lemonade by Element, both of which are lovely liquids. The Watermelon Chill is a watermelon menthol, so on the inhale you get loads and loads of watermelon, and it's a really juicy watermelon. It'll actually make your mouth salivate a little bit actually when you're vaping it. It's just really nice. And you get, then on the exhale, you get this really cool menthol hit. It's not massively menthol. I know a lot of people don't like vaping menthol, and I get it. But, I mean, I'm one of those fans. And then the other one, the pink lemonade, it's just a really pink, lemony lemonade. And it's really nice. It's quite sweet, actually, in terms of a vape. It's really, really good. And then the final one I've got is Cherry Fizzle, which is actually really interesting because, well, it's the name is kind of in the description, really. It's cherry, but it's got a little bit of a fizz in it, which means that on the inhale you kind of get a fizzy cherry hit. It's really nice, actually, I have to say. It's another one of those liquids that it's just lovely. I mean, Riot Squad, to be honest with you, do a great range of liquids, and their nicotine salt I think are really, really good. Along with Element, purely based on the fact that they do good liquids anyway, and the fact that they're 5mg nic salt is just really super smooth. Anyway guys, I'm going to close it down there, but I will say thanks very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave comments below for me, any recommendations that you want to see about videos I'm going to do, any particular juices that you can recommend, and go, you should try this. I will, and I'll review it. Yeah, just any general questions about vaping, put them at me. This is where I'm kind of getting my ideas for videos at the moment. So guys, I will say thank you very much. Peace and love. Vaping Rob out.